It's all right. I know why you're here. There he is. Do you want to do this one or shall I, Pab? Do you want me to take this one? Okay. Here's some wrestling news. A released superstar re-signs with WWE. A WWE Star returns from injury. And we have the reason for an NXT tag team being pulled from television. We'll get to that in a bit. So we don't know whether he's consummated the marriage, but we do know he's consummated a brand new deal with WWE. That sounds ruder than it should. Drake Maverick is back in the fold in WWE. So back in April, Drake Maverick became very much the face of the mass WWE layoffs. That emotional video really saw a groundswell of support for Drake Maverick. He had, as he said in the initial video, 3 matches left of his current WWE contract, and he was going to go out and give it his all. And somewhere along the line, and we started to speculate this would be the case, somewhere along the line, Drake got himself a brand new deal. And last night, at the conclusion of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament, we see Drake Maverick get offered the deal from Triple H, saying, "You've earned it." And that beautiful moment where Drake Maverick, with tears in his eyes, signs the contract, and the journey begins again. There's a great video online as well of Drake Maverick talking about this after the fact, saying this is one for the believers. Which is, so this one for the dreamers, sorry. For the dreamers and the believers, let's just put it that way. So Drake is back in WWE. Now the question is, when did this happen? Bye, Pablo. He was very much one of those that was let go back in April. And it's somewhere along the line there, with the support that he has had, all the way through his Cruiserweight tournament, the WWE made the absolute right decision to not let him take that momentum anywhere else and keep him within WWE. So therefore he is within the company. I don't believe the contract was decided last night. I believe that it was signed weeks before. But certainly when Drake did that video, he wasn't a part of WWE. When he did that video back in April, I genuinely believe that was the face of a guy who'd been told he was losing his job, without a doubt. But then WWE obviously went, okay, there's a lot of love here. Why don't you come back and let's keep this ticking over? And then there's the ethical issue of whether or not he was riding this sadness. And there was, because it blurs the lines between what's real and what's not, and there's questions about whether it was real in the first place. Now, it's wrestling, so of course they're going to capitalise on something like this if it happens as well. We've seen it very recently on SmackDown, where WWE's want to capitalise on real life scenarios, good or bad. But with Drake Maverick, I genuinely believe that this hasn't been an entire work. Drake Maverick got released from his contract, and he has basically earned it back in art and in life. You may think I'm naive for thinking that. That's fine. I think you're cynical. Far too cynical. The last thing the world needs now is more cynicism. Either way, welcome back, Drake Maverick. Drake isn't the only guy who's been asked to sign on the proverbial bottom line for WWE. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer says that quite a few guys who were let go back in April have actually been offered new contracts, but at a much lower rate. Some of the money hasn't been particularly strong, to the point where, as referenced by Alvarez in the Wrestling Observer, that some of the deals would actually benefit the wrestlers, instead of taking these deals to go out on the indie circuit where they could probably earn the same, if not more. It feels like just a gesture rather than like an intent to re-sign, by the sounds of it. Staying with NXT, Fandango is back. Fandango we haven't seen on TV since December, when he injured his UCL in his elbow in a match against the Singh brothers just before Christmas. And there was plans for Fandango to have surgery, but he's opted for physical therapy instead. Seems to have worked. Seems to be in good form. Good to see him back and doing his thing. Welcome back, Fandango. We'll talk more about Fandango in NXT Graded a little bit later on, as well as everything else that happened on NXT. And we'll assign everything a lovely little grade that you may or may not agree with. Impact Wrestling are stopping some of their guys being in a wrestling game. So you might have seen posts from Virtual Basement. They are putting together a brand new wrestling product, and they're signing loads of indie wrestlers to be in it. So you may have seen some of your faves holding up contracts for the game. Now, it's come to light via YouTuber Viking-Sized Gamer that the Impact Wrestling stars who have been approached for this game have been told to either not accept the deal, or if they have accepted it, please rescind it. Is that the word? Basic, you know the word I mean. Just say no. Just say no. And so that's now the situation, which is gutting because for a lot of Impact Wrestling guys, you could see how excited they were about being in a video game. This includes guys like Ken Shamrock, Fowler Barr, Kylie Ray, and Sue Young, who were all offered the chance to be in the game, posing, holding the contract and everything, and now that isn't going to be the case for them, so we understand. This would suggest maybe Impact are working on a game? Maybe? Or maybe they're just being silly buggers. I don't know. Loads of people are a part of this project as well. Like, I keep seeing brand new names added to the list. We know that Killer Kelly and Brian Cage, who are both signed to AEW recently, are part of this game. We don't know whether AEW are going to pull the rug on that at the moment. We don't know. But there is so many others. Like, the list is pretty phenomenal, actually, of guys from NWA, from MLW, from Ring of Honor, and also from like the greater wrestling world. You know, guys like Chris Van Vliet, who is a wrestling interviewer. We've had him on Desert Island Graps before on the podcast feed. He's playing the ring announcer, and they've hired like some referees and stuff and got their likenesses for the games too. So if the Impact guys don't make it in, it's still going to be a cracking game. And also, you know, if any video game company's clever, they'll just put in all the moves and custom stuff so you can make them anyway. Bobby Lashley, but not Bobby Lashley. We saw the return of Indus Sher to NXT TV last night, staring down the winners of the Triple Threat #1 Contenders Tag Team match. Talk more about that in Graded a bit later on, shall we? Yes, we shall. But Indus Sher were removed from TV quite unceremoniously a few weeks back, just completely taken away. So it was nice to see them back on. The reason for them going is Matt Riddle a bit, and Vince McMahon quite a bit. So the plan was going to be for NXT to see the Broserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, in a program with Indus Sher. So they were going to go back and forth for a bit, and they even started the ball rolling on that with Indus Sher attacking Matt Riddle. Now, while this is going on, Vince McMahon has said, I want Matt Riddle on SmackDown. So get the ball rolling on that, guys. The issue is that Matt Riddle is the NXT Tag Team Champion at this point, and there was absolutely no discussion on the idea of just having the belts vacated and Matt Riddle turn up on SmackDown. We've seen before how damaging those kind of call-ups are. So they wanted to find a way to write him out. So the plan was going to be have a feud with Indus Sher, Broserweights, and then have them lose the titles. But then when we realised that Pete Dunne, who is in the UK, wasn't going to be part of WWE TV for quite a while, they said, right, okay, get him a new champ, get Matt Riddle a new partner and get the belts off him. The belief was that Indus Sher, managed by Malcolm Bivens, weren't ready to be tag team champions yet. So they kind of just halted the whole thing and pulled them from TV, stopped the feud and stopped the TV build to it. Just took them off of TV because they thought, well, if this isn't going to happen, we need to stop teasing this match. And then we saw Timothy Thatcher come in. We saw Imperium get in the face of Thatcher and Riddle. And then we saw, obviously, what we've seen, which is Imperium become NXT Tag Team Champions. The belief is that Imperium are much better suited for that role. So that's why Indus Sher disappeared from TV, simply because they didn't believe they were ready to be put in a feud which would lead them to the tag team titles just yet. However, they've now come back, and they're very much back in the mix for the tag team titles. I don't expect them to win it anytime soon, but eventually they will. I know for a fact that Matt Bloom from the Performance Center is incredibly high on some of the work that Indus Sher does. So don't be surprised if down the road you see that happening. But what of Pete Dunne for the Broserweights? So Pete Dunne, like a few others, are NXT guys currently on the wrong side of the pond. And the plan is, according to WWE, to not do anything with these guys until things get back to normal. Hence why Jordan Devlin is sat at home and they've crowned a new Cruiserweight champion, or interim Cruiserweight champion, as they've started not calling it. And as for Pete Dunne, no plans to return to NXT for just a while. Obviously, there is a ready set feud with him and Thatcher, which I'm champing at the bit to see. Need to keep getting those two mixed up. But there is also talk that Pete Dunne may end up back at NXT UK. If NXT UK gets up and running, whilst there is still some travel issues between the countries, they may use Pete Dunne on NXT UK in the interim to not only build some more momentum for that brand, which has had a lot of downtime lately, but also just to make use of him, put him in a situation where he can work off some of the ring rust in a comfortable environment for coming back to NXT from off of America. Speaking of Pete Dunne, I want to give some love to him and his British Strong Style boys, as they have been raising money for Black Lives Matter. They shared the other day an OG British Strong Style t-shirt, which is a really nice, cool looking, very simple design t-shirt, and they said the money will be going to the charity. 24 hours later, they sold 2,000 t-shirts and have raised, they reckon, about £20,000, which is amazing. Big love to Pete Dunne, to Tyler Bate, and to Trent Seven, British Strong Style, raising the money for an amazing cause. Big love to you guys. And that'll do it for the news for today. As I said, NXT Graded's along later today. AEW Graded with Jack is along later on as well. And AEW TF Moments with Ross will be on the Cultaholic YouTube channel in a short while too. In fact, not long at all. We've got some more news videos as well today. So lots on the channel today. And do you know what? I think it probably suits you just to wait there until they appear. I don't know if you've got anything else on today, but let's just chill. Just kick back. They'll appear. Don't forget to do those things, by the way. What it says there.